But first, illegal immigration is shaping up to be the big plank in the Republican Party platform this year, and not without reason. Depending on how you count them, somewhere between 7 and 10 million illegals have flooded into the United States since Joe Biden took office. While some are no doubt genuinely fleeing persecution and filing legitimate refugee claims, the fact is that as the weeks and months go by, the truth becomes clear. This flood is mostly made up of economic migrants, with a large number of gang members, criminals, cartel types, and people on terror watch lists, as well as a suspicious number of single military-aged Chinese males. The past month has seen a number of awful crimes allegedly committed by people who have come across through this surge, including the deaths of a toddler and a female college student, Laken Riley, who was innocently out for a run when she was set upon and apparently bashed to death for no good reason. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that case later in the show, but right now, I want to inoculate everyone who is watching against any claims from the Biden administration that they are going to make over the coming months, saying that they have been tough on borders. Because that is completely wrong. Joe Biden, the Democrats, have been lax from the beginning. I want to take you back to 2020 so you can see the scope of the Biden deception. Here is Joe Biden running for president 4 years ago, saying that he would not detain illegal migrants.
How exactly would you detain immigrants, if at all, in a Biden administration?
The way we did when we reformed the system with the DACA, I would not retain them behind bars. They show up. No, here's what they do. They show up. Sometimes you have an ankle bracelet, you set a hearing.
At the time, he also campaigned against deporting illegals.
Nobody, and some of you are going to get mad at me with this, but nobody is going to be deported in my first 100 days until we get through the point that we find out the only rationale for deportation will be whether or not you've committed a felony while in the country.
Now, even the idea of deporting felons is now controversial among Democrats, but Joe Biden also said that illegal immigration made America strong.
On day one, I'm going to send immigration legislation reform to the Congress to provide a roadmap to citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants and so much that make up so much of our communities and make us so strong.
Now, I accept that this issue wasn't as big in 2020 as it is now. Remember that back then we were all worried about COVID and Black Lives Matter riots and what we now know to be the utterly bogus Russian hoax that saw American intelligence agencies get around the law on spying against citizens by using other countries' letter agencies to spy on Donald Trump. So back then, we weren't paying all that much attention to the southern border because we thought, how bad could it get? Well, now we know. From day one, Joe Biden acted to repeal Donald Trump's tough border policies. Not long after they took office, Homeland Security Chief Alejandro Mayorkas bragged about what they had done.
And I'd like to understand from you what Trump-era immigration policies have been banned, ended, reversed, and if any investigations are underway by you.
So we have rescinded so many Trump immigration policies, it would take so much time to list them.
And of course, predictable tragedy has ensued. Millions of illegals have poured in. So-called sanctuary cities are groaning under the weight of their compassionate policies. And countless American citizens have become the victims of terrible crimes that should not have occurred. Brandon Judd, head of the Border Patrol Union, says that the entire outcome has been to open the floodgates.
Everything changed under President Biden. The way we patrol the border, our operations have changed. The way we vet people has changed. The way we process people through the system has changed. Everything that we do has changed under this administration. And it's not about enforcement. It's about getting people into this country as quickly as they possibly can.
And how has that worked out? Well, this report from December tells you everything you need to know. Venezuela. Venezuela is now the safest it has been in 2 decades because all of its criminals have headed north to the United States. So any rational person is going to be asking yourself, why? Why would Biden and the Democrats want to open the borders and flood the country with non-citizens, many of them criminals? Well, I've dug back into the archives again to the 2020 campaign, and I think I've found the answer.
Part of what I'm going to send to the United States Congress is a total immigration bill to provide a pathway to citizenship for undocumented people in the United States of America. It makes no sense for us not to do that.
Pathway to citizenship. Did you get that? Import millions of new Americans illegally and then wave a wand and turn them into Democratic voters for life. Say about all the crime, dislocation, depressed wages, everything else along the way. But never mind. For a Democrat, anything is better than the Republicans ever holding power again.